Yeah, who's the culprit?
Ready?
All right, ready? Cool. Let's go.
In 3, 2, 1.
Hey, folks, welcome back to your Frederick Real Estate Update. I'm Darren Aher with RE/MAX Results, bringing you over 23 years experience in the Maryland, PA, and all over the country region. We got awesome referral partners that we can reach out to, and anywhere you're located, family, friends, or anyone you know needing real estate help. And also with mortgages, we can definitely help you guys out, making sure you really have top-notch quality service and real professionals who know what they're doing and can give you a great experience, and loved ones as well. So, all right. Also, for all you guys tuning in the drop down, go into WFMD in the drop down box. I've had a lot of people recently kind of ask me, they're like new listeners and saying, hey, where's all your past programs again? And so that's where it is, WFMD.com. In the Your Frederick Real Estate Update, you are now going to have 436 past programs. And I have the one, the man, the myth, the legend with all the money in that bank vault from Presidential Bank Mortgage, Mr.
Terry Kernan.
All right, how we doing?
Couldn't be better.
Can you believe it? We are in November, smoking through it quick.
Yeah, this year is it's flying.
Yeah, Santa Claus is coming 6-8 weeks. Coming. 6 more weeks.
His schedule's filling up, by the way.
And there's snow this week. We got a forecast. Did you see it? Faith in the flakes. We may actually, Western Maryland's supposed to get 1 to 3 inches of snow. We may get it in the mountains a little bit. We're supposed to get flakes coming this next week. So It's going to get really cold. There's a big cold front coming on down, dipping in, and it's going to go all the way down to Florida. So those guys are going to get a little bit of a blast, but I doubt they'll get under freezing. I have a good friend, a bunch of friends down there. My brother lives there and all that. And I'm like, when's the last time there was a snow accumulation in Florida? I know you guys have had a little bit before, but I want to see that area. And Disney, could you imagine going to Disney World and having snowflakes flying? That'd be cool. All right. So let's get right into it. T, I'm not going to go over a ton of numbers because I got a lot of content we want to share and get out there because it is crazy. This is your weekly dose of real estate and mortgage update stuff. Active homes on the market in Frederick County is 640 right now.
Okay.
Last week, we were at 661.
So we're down a little bit.
Yeah. The sellers are like, hey, it's time to get ready for the turkey and the holidays and all that. And I do have one listing that comes now. We're out on the market. Shout out to it. Beautiful townhouse, 4-bedroom. 2.5 bath, 1518 South Rambling Way in Frederick. It's literally on where Walkersville, the Panera Bread and all that is. It's literally right behind there. And Main Farm is the community. Gorgeous place right by Monocacy Landing and Deerbot and all that good stuff. So all in that same side, beautiful townhouse. It's gorgeous. My sellers have done an amazing job listening to me and getting it prepared for sale. They did about everything you could think of so that we don't have a lot of headaches from any home inspections and things like that. So those are called smart sellers. Priced it right for the market. Found them a great place, over in Worman's Military. And you're actually working on the loan for those guys. And so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right, here we go. Let's get into it. And then coming soon, we just have 62. And we'll stay at that number, probably a little less. I think we'll get down to like 45, 50 when it gets like in the next few weeks, but we'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, we're not going to get above 700 anytime soon. So, and what's funny, Terry, is I just had this last week. People again, my seller, everybody's asking, is this a buyer's market? Is seller's market? You know, what's going on? We hear you mentioning 2.5, 2.7 months of supply inventory. And we've been looking on the internet and it's got to be 5 months to be a balanced market. And anything under that's a seller's market. Anything over that's a buyer's market. What's going on with all that? And I'm like, no, that's just what's on paper. On paper, it's a seller's market. In reality, it feels more like a buyer's market because of what we've come out of, because it was so much more of a heavily seller's market. But like last week we talked, I tell people this all the time. The sellers can determine for their own personal property what market you want to be in. You can be in a buyer's market if you overprice it. And you can be in your seller's market if you don't give it away. There's no such thing, but you're aggressive. You're where the market numbers show. You're in that range. You're in that sweet spot. And buyers are going to respond. And the way you know you're priced right is what? You get an offer, not How many showings? I hear all the time, well, I had 10 showings. I must be priced right. No, you didn't get an offer. If you had 10 showings, you don't have an offer, you're in big trouble. You really missed it, right? So,
Yeah.
All right. So what's happening in the mortgage market? What are your thoughts?
So my thoughts are, well, just a little bit about the market is it, let's put it in terms of the beach. Everybody says, when's high tide, when's low tide?
Ooh.
Nobody talks about the slack tide. What's the slack tide? It's when we're in between the high tide and the low tide. And I think that's kind of what the feel of the market that I have is that we're kind of in a slack tide where people aren't offering a lot less, but we got the sellers helping out, right? So in a true seller's market, the seller's not going to give closing cost help. The seller's not going to reduce their thing. So so they're doing it a little bit. So I think we're kind of in the middle of the two, and I think that that's going to hold steady for the next couple months. But I think we're going to start going back to a seller's market around February 1st. That's kind of my thought. Why are rates important?
Yeah, why are rates important?
Because rates, with the government shutdown, they can't figure out the exact numbers of jobs. What is the unemployment rate? How many jobs are we losing? How many jobs are we gaining? So we're having to rely on ADP, who basically comes out, before the Fed comes out with their numbers, or the BLS, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, comes out. They're closed, so they can't give us any numbers. But the feel is that there's a weakening in the labor market.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause pressure on the rates to go down. If that holds true, well, right now, people are just guessing that there's a weakness there. We're feeling it in some parts. We're seeing it in some parts. But what's really going on? So ADP came out this morning, or came out Wednesday, which is this morning, because we're taping the show. We're going to let everybody know we're taping it.
Yep.
But basically, they came out and they showed that there was a gain of about 42,000 jobs, which was more than expected. They were expecting like 20,000, 22,000. So we saw a little bump in the rates. And I think we're going to see that until we can get this resolved with the government and get the government shut down. There's talk that it's going to, open back soon now that the elections are over, now that pressure's off, yada. So that's going to probably hold things up and put things in a holding pattern for rates over the next week, 10 days, until we can figure out when they're going to open up the market again or open up the government again. And then we can start getting back to real data. Then we can start getting back to what is the real unemployment rate. Because we've seen ADP in the past, even though they're very reliable, they have missed the ball a couple of times. They've missed the number a few times. So you can't really take it to the market as kind of wait and see. And let's see what happens with the government.
Yeah. What about mortgage applications this last week or so?
Applications have been they've been kind of flat.
Okay.
There's not really.
This is the wait and see.
This is the wait and see. So we've seen obviously more refis.
Yeah.
And we're seeing not as many purchases.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So purchase applications are down, but refinance applications are up. Does it mean everybody's jumping to pull the trigger on refinances? No, that's not the case. But what people are doing is they're getting ready to pull that trigger.
Learning the numbers and going, oh, how much can I save and all that?
What's going to make the most sense and how can we do it? Let's kind of figure this one out and then get ready to pull the trigger. So we're seeing an increase in refinances. We're seeing an increase of actual people refinancing, going to closing. And those are some people that had 7.5% interest rates just, not
long ago.
Not very long ago.
No, and that's the thing. We, even though rates come down very, very slowly, you've said, and it does, it's just wild to think in the last year that, there's people in a position, not just because of their personal situation in life that they need to refinance to get money out or do whatever with, but they're in a position to where, their rate that they had versus now could be almost a point. Are you seeing that about 1 point? If they were at like 7.25 and now we're almost at 6.25 or so, maybe they're in that position where, this makes sense. This could happen now.
Yeah. You really can't start looking at a refinance unless you're at least 0.5%.
Oh yeah. I didn't.
And VA doesn't allow you to look at it unless you're at least 0.5%.
Oh, I didn't know that rule.
Yeah,
Is that a hard, fast
That's
line
a
rule?
hard fast.
You
have
can't.
to improve by at least 0.5%.
Okay, well,
So that's really important to consider.
Mhm.
So if you're not going to get 0.5% better on your rate, please don't even think about pulling that trigger. What you got to do is you got to see kind of where you are and what makes sense to you. The other thing I would not recommend to do is I've got somebody that is, looking to purchase now and they wanted to buy the rate down. And I said, well, it might make sense to not spend the money by buying the rate down. For every 0.25% you buy it down, it usually works out to about 1 discount point.
Mhm.
And what is a discount point? If you have a $500,000 sales price and a $400,000 loan amount, the discount point to buy that rate down on a $400,000 loan, 1 point equals $4,000. So for every $4,000 you pay, you can buy your interest rate down 0.25%.
okay.
What does that mean? That basically means that $4,000, if you take $4,000 and you divide the saving and then payment, basically you're going to take a look, no matter whether your loan amount's 400,000,
Doesn't matter what. Yep.
doesn't matter what. If you take that 1 point and divide into it what the savings per month is, that number is usually going to come out to 57 to 62 months. So no matter what you do, when you buy a rate down, if you know you're not going to be in that house 2 years from now or 3 years from now,
Yeah, it's not worth it.
it's not worth it. If you know you're going to refinance in the next 12 months,
Yeah, not
it's
worth
not
it.
worth buying your rate down because
Right.
the break even is at around 60 months on
Wow.
average.
Wow,
So
it's good to know.
Yeah. So a lot of people say, oh, they're offering me 5.5%. And I always like, well, how many points? Well, 3 points. And I'm like, okay, let's talk about this. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, gotcha.
Hopefully within the next year, we can refinance you for not spending 3 points.
Exactly.
But
Yeah, maybe good to do.
yeah, so the lowest rate isn't always the best thing for you. Just to
That's
let you know.
true. That's true. That's why they need to talk to you, to get to Terry, get over to him, and he will run the scenarios upwards, backwards, sideways, all of it, which is awesome. So one of the things that comes up every so often, I'm dealing with some tough situations, some sellers, future one, a divorce, and getting their home in the market, and they're late on payments, and their big thing. And other people been calling me, Terry, about, hey, having some hardships here a little bit. And how does this foreclosure thing work? We've looked online. There's a lot of conflicting things. Number one, each state is different. Each state has different laws, rules, and all those things like that. And I always, Terry, like to say, when in doubt, immediately, if you are late on your mortgage payment, okay, the whole forbearance thing, the do-over, the one-overs, all these words.
The mulligans.
Yeah, all the mulligans.
The mulligans that we were given are gone.
Yeah, these things here, it's like, there's no big, grand, national, horrific COVID crisis, something going on big that's going to cause everybody to be put in the same basket, and we get these mulligans. If you are late on your mortgage, and by the way, this number I saw, it was we're about 18% higher than last year at this time that we've seen foreclosures, people lateness, 30 days late or more, that starts to get recorded and everything like that. So what happens with foreclosure stuff like that, homeowners late on their or properties and stuff like that, there's a gazillion reasons why this can happen, as we know. I don't know too many people, Terry, voluntarily wake up and go, you know what? I'm just not paying my mortgage. I'm not paying my rent. I'm just not going to pay it. Darn it. I know I have the money. I'd rather go to Hawaii. I'd rather buy a car. I'm just not going to pay it. Not too many people do that. They usually have a medical hardship, a divorce, job loss is the biggest. There's something that happened that was out of their control, maybe a little bit. And it's tough. They run out of savings. They don't have a lot of savings. One of the things I've taught my boys and stuff like that, and speaking of the job stuff, shout out to Ethan. He's got a new job at a new electric company, getting a really good income and money from that. Job is phenomenal. I'm so proud of him. 22 years old.
That's
And,
awesome.
you know, I've got one that's an engineer, electrician, two are drilling and blasting, and their lives are in danger every day. And I'm like, who's going to do real estate? I feel like my life is in danger every day with sellers and buyers. They want to take your heads off if rates go up or this happens or that happens. And I'm not getting the price that I want. The market's not giving me my $1 million. But I'm really proud of my boys because, man, I've taught them a good work ethic. But I am wondering, out of my 6 boys, who's going to take over my real estate world and mess around with buyers and sellers and help them with the American dream that I love so much? They got to love it just as much or more. And we'll see. We'll see. I got 2 left. They might do it. Who knows? But the thing is this is what's tough about real estate, guys. No one likes to see someone in a financial position. I never like to sell homes where somebody is in a bad position. You know, I love the ones you sell. They're downsizing and moving sideways, different area, job change or upsize or do whatever, right? The tough ones are the tough ones. And I'm very sensitive to that. But foreclosures is on the rise. It's not a mystery whatsoever. And it's not just government workers that are still not back to work and stuff like that. It's all over the map. It's everywhere. I mean, good God, look at this last week. What is up with Amazon and Target and Zillow? Like everybody laying off all these jobs and AI stuff, and they're blaming this and blaming that, and sales are down and all the other economic things or whatever. The bottom line is I don't like to see any of that. But here's what happens. The first thing you need to do when you are going to be late or you are late on your mortgage payment is you need to contact your servicer, okay? That's just good practice. Call them up, let them know. You know, so you don't want to run and hide and do nothing at all. That's when it can be a little bit, you know, worse and all that. But each state has its own laws. So if you're late on this stuff like that and you've stopped and you can't make your mortgage payment. Oh, by the way, I get people that have asked me, Terry, well, what happens if I just pay part of it? I have half my mortgage for the month. What happens? I've already sent it in. What happens to that money? I don't know. You got to call your servicer. They typically want all of it to satisfy that pay period.
Yes, you're still late.
You're still late. Like,
You're
yeah,
still late. You're
it's
still
like
in default.
yeah, that's how they see it. And so, yeah, I mean, you're doing something. I mean, it helps. It's not terrible that you're not doing that, but you're still in default. And here's the big thing that happens. If you stop paying your mortgage, how long does it take to foreclose? Each state is different. It could take years, but not anymore. It was some, you know, I don't even know, but you must be in touch with the mortgage company 30 days late. What happens if you pass 30 days? We already know if you're like, I think most mortgages 7 days or 10 days or 15.
So here's how it works.
Go ahead. How many is it before you get penalized?
So every mortgage is due on the first of the following month that you settle.
Okay.
So if I settle September 30th, my first payment is November 1st. If I settle September 10th, my first payment is November 1st. If I settle September 1st, my first payment is November 1st. If I settle August 31st,
Yep.
October 1st is my first payment.
All right.
So you skip a month, basically.
Yeah.
So no matter when you settle, that's when your payment is set up for, is the first of every month.
That's right.
You don't get a mortgage that says, oh, your payment's due the 15th of the month. Every mortgage is at the first. So let's be very clear. You do have a grace period up to the 15th of the month.
Right.
If they do not receive your mortgage payment at that time, if they receive it on the 16th,
Right.
then they will accept it, but you're going to have to pay a
Penalty. Fine.
penalty.
Yep.
Okay. And then let's say the penalty is $50. Not a big deal. But if you don't pay that, then you can actually still be considered late.
Yes.
Now, the question is, well, I forgot to pay my mortgage and I don't know how I got the late payment. And then as soon as I saw that it was late, this is when they let your credit, when you are, so I'll give you the example. October 31st. If you didn't pay your October payment by the last day of the month,
Right.
it's not in their hands,
Right.
and it's not counted for, and it rolls into November 1st, then you have a late payment not only within the company, you got a late payment on the mortgage, and that is where it hits your credit, and that's where it drops your credit.
Yeah. And that's the
Okay.
thing. So your credit gets hit now after 1 month of being late. And the key thing people want to know is how bad is it? How much is the pain?
Yeah.
10 points, 20, 30. How does that get calculated? Do you know?
No, and it's a shot in the dark, but it can affect you 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 points. I've got a borrower, I had a borrower that through the tough times of COVID, they struggled, and they had 33 late payments. Okay. And you sit there and you go, well, 33 late payments, they should have gotten foreclosed on, right?
Yeah.
No. What happened is they had a rolling late. So they had health issues and a job loss in 1 month, and they did not make the payment. And let's say that month was August, but they paid their August payment September.
Okay.
And they paid their September payment in October, and their October payment. So they were owing 1 month behind, and it became a rolling late, but it added up 33 months in a row.
Wow, because they never caught all the way up.
Never caught all the way up. So just because you missed August doesn't mean that you're only going to get one late payment.
That's good to know.
Okay.
Oof.
So if you have a rolling payment, then you really have to do something about it, because that's where your credit starts falling apart, is when you have rolling lates. And that happens not only with mortgages, but it happens with credit cards. Okay.
Yeah.
It happens with, car payments. Rolling lates are probably the most dangerous thing that can happen to your credit report, because it will show you that you have 33 30-day lates, when in your mind, you only have one late payment, and that was in August 3 years ago.
Wow. Yeah.
So
That
do you
is
see
good.
how important
Yeah,
that is?
massive. I mean, that's just, can you imagine waking up one day and finding out what you thought was just, I'm only 1 month late. I've been catching up. I've been paying on time, everything else, only to find out it's been rolling over and your credit's destroyed.
Yeah. So
And then how do you recover from
Yeah.
that?
So when you get the call from the mortgage company and they say, well, you're a payment behind, you say, okay, well, I just sent it in. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they don't say, hey, listen, you got a rolling late. We got to do something about the August payment that you skipped.
Yep.
Or it's going to really cause a problem for your thing. So when you talk to the mortgage company, write down, listen to what they're saying. Make sure that you're both on the same page. The mortgage company wants their payment. So they're going to say, you owe us a payment. You're behind one payment. You pay one payment. You could still be behind one payment because you're paying for the next payment.
Yep.
So make sure you understand exactly what's going on.
All right. So 30 days late, you get a letter, usually a reminder between 30 and 60 days. Hey, you okay? You breathing? Is everything all right? This is if you don't contact them, but even if you do, I think they have to legally send you out notices, right? They may offer a workout. I don't know. They depend on what situation, what the hardship is, what's going on. But you need to call and discuss that. Forbearance things, I know the next one gets into, Terry, like 90 days late. I believe 90 to 120 days late. Maryland, they file with the courts.
Okay.
So it's called like list pens. Like you now are on the clock in a way that's beyond just 1 or 2 or 3 payments. You're getting filed with the courts. Foreclosure notices are now being sent out. 120 days late plus is starting to become very serious now. And the time clock is really ticking down, and that you're getting closer to what the big thing is, Terry, is that a foreclosure date is set. So if if you wait and wait, there is going to come a time frame after 120 days. You are going to start to get a foreclosure date that is going to start to be set. And once you get that is coming to the end of the line there. And so then there's foreclosure final documents. They need to be delivered via certified mails. You have to sign off. And so all the old rules, all the stuff that was, if you remember about, 12, 15 years ago, the great financial meltdown and all the people foreclosing, there were tons and tons. In fact, I was subpoenaed through a friend of mine that I was going to be selling her townhouse in Germantown. And the company, whoever was her servicer at the time, they had foreclosed on her without her knowledge, she said, didn't get things in the mail, didn't get certified, didn't sign anything. And literally after about 5 or 6 or 7 months or whatever time frame it was, there were 2 men that literally showed up on her property at her front door and said, hey, we just bought your property. We now own it. You have to vacate immediately. We have the keys. See, we have the keys to the house kind of thing. and she ended up getting a lawyer fight in it, the whole 9 yards. It was a disaster. And these kind of cases we learned were the ones where the predatory lending, like the companies that were foreclosing, maybe didn't follow in the consumer's eyes the laws of the land, if you will, and the notices. I never signed anything. I never had a court date. I never was able to fight this, if you will, and give explanations, and they just foreclosed on me. So that stuff I don't think happens anymore. I think a lot of things got really by our government. They really kind of went after these companies or whoever was involved, maybe doing some of these practices and things. But the bottom line is this: you don't want to get to that point if you can help it. And then the foreclosures can be delayed some. This is the big thing, by a speed bump, if you will, but not always. Maybe by a real estate, contacting a real estate attorney and all that. You definitely want to you definitely want to maybe file things or be in touch and do your part that shows good faith, because here's the bottom line. The banks and the servicers and the investors, they don't want your house. They really don't want it. It costs so much money to foreclose on a property. It's crazy money. It really is. They don't want it. They want you to keep your house, stay in it, pay the mortgage every month, and everybody's nice and happy and all that. But the thing that can stall foreclosures a little bit, I have heard, and you definitely want to talk to a real estate attorney, and we've got those contacts for you, is filing bankruptcy. But here's the thing. I would never tell somebody, stop making your payments, do this, file bankruptcy. It all affects your life negatively. I mean, it messes up your credit, the whole 9 yards. So as real estate agents, we basically always say, seek legal counsel, seek legal counsel. We got good contacts. Don't bury your head in the sand. Don't run away from it all, and things will work out in the end. One of the biggest things, key ideas, is if you have an HOA, Terry, as we know, keep that current. They can foreclose on you faster than your mortgage company.
Yes,
that is true. And the big thing is this. If you have equity in your home, like this divorce situation I'm dealing with, they have equity in the house. The banks just want to get paid, but you don't want to lose more of that. You don't want to lose all of it, maybe, or whatever, and have to fight in court and do whatever. It'll just drain out quickly. The best thing to do is, after you've talked to your service providers and you get a plan in place and they've given you what they know, and you talk to a real estate attorney and you get good advice about marital laws and what's going to affect you and not in the whole 9 yards, then you can make a good decision. And sometimes the best thing to do, Terry, especially right now with the most equity people have ever had in real estate right now, is 9 out of 10 people or more have positive equity in their home. Let's sell your house. And let's go ahead and making sure that you get money. It gets paid. You can start back over. And a lot of people say, well, Terry, if I sell my house and I'm late on my payments, my credit's down a little bit, I'm never going to be able to find a place to rent. That is not true. It's going to be tougher. There's no doubt about it. But I have had situations where I've helped someone with a letter showing hardships and what happened and why their credit was where they're at. And then all of a sudden they have a landlord that says, okay, you got $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in the bank from selling your house. Great. I think you can pay your rent with that to me. Let's go ahead and work something out. Let's go ahead and take a chance on you and see what happens there. So any last thoughts? We got 30 seconds.
Well, that's a lot to swallow. But the bottom line is what I want to add to that is, if you have a second trust, if you have a home equity line of credit, you got to keep your payments up on that.
Yep.
It's not like you can say, well, it's a second trust, not a big deal. They're going to start the foreclosure process, even though it's a $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000 lien against your property.
Right.
They can put you in the foreclosure. So you got to keep anybody that's got a lien on your property or the ability to have a lien on your property, you got to keep them paid.
Yep. So give me a call. Information's coming up. If you are having a hardship of things, I will be glad to get you great information and good resources, guys. So, hey, happy selling and buying. Have a great weekend out there. And we will see you each and every Saturday on WFMD right here at your Frederick Real Estate Update. Take care now. Good to see you guys. Take care. Have a great day.